Hello, teachers and young people. My name is Matt Waligora. I'm the mayor of the city of Alpena, and happy March's Reading Month. I'm coming to you today from my home office, otherwise known as my dining room, and I brought some interesting books with me today. First is the Charter of Alpena, written back in March of 1944. And this book explains how our local government was established and the different positions in local government. And then I have the annual budget for Alpena. This explains the revenue and expenses that the city of Alpena has, basically how we spend our money, and as far as paying out salaries and fixing roads and things of that nature. And then I have the Book of Ordinances. So this book basically lists all the different laws and rules that are written for just specifically the city of Alpena. So we're not actually going to read those today, but I just wanted to give you an example of the type of things that I do read in my job as mayor. And it all kind of started with a basic foundation of reading, even just simple books like the one I did bring to read to you. So this book is called The Great Riddle Contest, and it's a Winnie the Pooh book. So in case you're not too familiar with all of the characters in Winnie the Pooh, we have, of course, Winnie the Pooh is here. He's the star of the stories. This is Kanga. This is Eeyore. He's a donkey. This is Roo. That's Kanga's child, so Kanga, Roo. This is the owl. This is Piglet. This is Rabbit. Poor Rabbit didn't get a real name outside of just Rabbit. And this is Tigger. So one day, Pooh and his friends stood silently at Pooh's door, gazing out at the falling rain. Suddenly, Owl had a funny thought and chuckled to himself. Then he turned to Roo and asked, What goes up when the rain comes down?" "What?" Roo asked excitedly. "What?" "An umbrella," Owl answered. "Ooh, I like that," said Roo. "Ask me another one." "You know," said Owl, "that kind of funny question and answer is called a riddle. I would imagine we could think up some riddles of our own." "Let's have a riddle contest," cried Roo, "with prizes and everything." Just then the rain stopped. The sun came out and shone on the 100-acre wood. "Hoo, hoo, hoo," cried Tigger. "A riddle contest. What fun. I'm to go out and think up a great riddle. Ta-ta for now." As Tigger bounced into the forest, Owl called after him, "We'll meet before supper outside my house." The friends all decided to go their separate ways. Everyone was eager to work on a riddle of his or her own. When Pooh went back inside his house, he headed to his cupboard and took out a pot of honey. "And a smackerel will help me think," he said to himself. "Think, think, think. What should my riddle be about?" And here he is, eating some honey. Rabbit went straight to his garden and began pulling weeds. "Gardening always helps me think," he said. "Now, what should my riddle be about?" Inside the owl's house, he stared at the family portraits on the wall. "Funny," he murmured. "Now that I think of it, it seems that many of my esteemed ancestors were chefs. I wonder what kind of riddle Uncle Wolfgang would have thought up, or dear Aunt Betty, or my cousin Julia." Here they are on the wall. And then we got Piglet. Meanwhile, Piglet was so worried about his riddle that he paced around his living room, back and forth and around and around. "Oh dear," he said. "What if I can't think up a riddle? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear." He picked up some string and nervously began to untangle it. Kanga decided that it wouldn't do to worry about making up a riddle. Instead, she took a chair outside and sat down to look at a picture book. At the same time, she was keeping an eye on Roo, who was happily playing in the mud left by the morning rain. "I'll think up a great riddle, Mama," said Roo. "Of course you will, dear," Kanga replied. And there they are. reading and playing in the mud. Eeyore sat in his house and moped. Lightning will strike before I think up a decent riddle, he mumbled. Maybe I've got something there. All day Tigger bounced around the forest, trying to come up with a clever riddle. I'm going to win the riddle contest. Just watch me, he said to anyone who would listen. There they are. Then finally, as the sun slid closer to the tops of the trees, the friends gathered outside Owl's house. It was time for the great riddle contest to begin. Since I'm the host, said Owl, I'll go first. The rule is, whoever tells a riddle that no one can answer will be the winner. Pooh, you go first. So Pooh stood up on this box. Pooh stepped up on a crate. What is empty when I am full? He asked, rubbing his tummy. A honey pot, the others shouted at once. Oh, Pooh, that's an easy one, Piglet said with a giggle. Next was Rabbit's turn. What has eyes but cannot see? He asked. That's easy too, said Owl. Yeah, said Tigger. A potato has eyes but cannot see. Disappointed, Rabbit stepped down from the crate. Piglet was next. Trembling slightly, he asked, what has a long tail and no wings, yet can soar in the breeze? A kite, Kanga guessed. Yep, gulped Piglet as he hopped down from the crate. Now it was Kanga's turn. What wears a jacket and has a spine, but is not a living thing? The others whispered among themselves, and then Owl spoke to the group. A book, he guessed. Kanga smiled as she stepped down. My, what a clever bunch we are, she said, as Roo took his place on the crate. So this is the spine of the book, which you've probably already learned, so that riddle was pretty funny. What bakes in the sun, Roo began, melts in the rain, and can be made over and over again. The others looked at Roo's dirt-smudged paws. A mud pie, everyone answered. Gosh, said disappointed Roo, I thought no one would guess it. And there they all are, the muddy hands. Next, Eeyore stood on the crate. Oh well, he began. Here goes. What is invisible when it roars and visible when it strikes? For a moment, no one answered. Then Pooh cried, I know, a storm with thunder and lightning. Yes, Pooh, everyone said, as Eeyore said, as he sadly made his way for Tigger. Okay, Tigger said happily. What can do this? The harder it falls down, the higher it bounces back up again. Pooh pointed at Tigger. You, he answered. No, Tigger replied, I never fall down. Wait, cried Roo, a ball. It's a ball. Tigger frowned. Oh, you're right, he said glumly. Finally, Owl took his place on the crate. All right, he began. No one has won the prize so far. Now, if one of you guess my riddle, you'll all win a prize. Answer this. What gets washed after it's cleaned? Roo hopped up and down. I know, he cried. A plate. Mama always tells me to clean my plate before she washes it. That's correct, Roo, said Owl. And speaking of dishes, if you all follow me, I'll show you your prize. Owl led his friends to an outdoor table set for a fabulous picnic supper. As he handed out sandwiches and a pot of honey to Pooh, Owl decided to try one more riddle. What listens without complaining, he asked, shares without asking for anything in return, and often knows you better than you know yourself? And then he answered his own riddle. A friend. Happy feasting, friends. There they are, all getting along and eating together. That's a pretty good book. I hope you enjoyed it.